Before you buy a home computer.
Electronic games being heralded by folks in the trade as this year's holiday bestseller.
Children have skipped school or stolen money to play the games.
I'll be looking at the electronic game craze.
And at the end of the tape, I'll be back to tell you how to safeguard your computer.
"50,000 people used to live here. Now it's a ghost town." Hello, hello, hello! Welcome back to Streamer News, everybody. I am doing everything from one monitor today. I still don't have my second monitor for this particular setup connected yet, due to some complications. Welcome to Streamer News. I have missed this show. This is still technically following in the Streamer News Season 2.5 kind of dealio, but I am super stoked to be getting back in the swing of things and getting this going. Just a little bit of housekeeping right out of the gate immediately following the stream, and this show might be a little bit of a shorter one. I will be pushing everybody over to Twitch, twitch.tv/EposVox, as I will be doing a Vivid Voltage Pokemon booster box opening. This is actually my first English booster box that I have ever actually completely cracked and opened on my own, so I am excited for that. Also, if you missed it, I have launched, actually I can pull that up here if we go on over to this one. I have launched my Pokemon TCG channel. So that stream of the booster box opening will be being displayed, or uploaded over here on the HoloQuest channel. I ran this my main YouTube channel actually used to be fairly Pokemon focused about 7 or 8 years ago. And then I spun it off onto its own side channel, and we are picking it back up this year and coming out with a bang. Got lots of content already pre-scheduled, got lots of content that we're going to be filming. I am super stoked for that, so be sure to go check it out. Also, if you missed it, the moving vlogs are pretty much done. We are now streaming from the new studio here, and the moving vlogs are pretty much done, so you can check out the full playlist here, which goes from tearing down and talking about the retro room as it was to completely moving and building up the new studio with some, crazy things happening along the way. Also, if you missed it, I have launched a TikTok in the month of February, and it has been doing super great, so be sure to go follow that. I also have a dedicated one for the Pokemon TCG channel, so go check that out as well. 2 separate TikToks, but that's how it goes. So, yeah, that's all the housekeeping I have for today. I'm still getting used to my new Stream Deck layout. I've got everything set up new. I'm kind of rushing everything together because I really want to get all of my different stream setups going. And actually, I can go on and show here. I've got a big multicam thing going. So obviously we have our main cam just like I had in the normal Streamer News stuff. We've got, assuming this works, yeah, side cam dealio where you get a view of the TV display stuff I just posted a video on, as well as the primary desk setup in all of the lovely neon glory. We also have an overhead shot, which is pretty dark at the moment, but I can go ahead and flip on the light to show you kind of what it's supposed to look like. If Elgato Control Center wants to load, there we go. Then it gets nice and bright, and this is my overhead shot for unboxings, Pokemon TCG openings later on in that stream, and so on. I'll have a whole video about that setup coming in time. Turn off that light here. Hello, Elgato Control Center. Off. Off. There we go. And then we have, actually I don't have that scene over here. We have a camera off on the far side, but that's fine, that's fine. You don't need to see it. You'll see that in the Twitch stream as well. So we've got a lot of stuff going. I also have a few more camera angles that I'm going to set up. I actually have my usual security kind of back camera view plugged in, but I'm guessing the extension cable I used isn't powered enough, so Windows isn't recognizing the camera anymore. So I got to get a longer USB extension cable. But basically, every webcam that I own or that is in my possession is going to go use in this space somewhere. So I have basically unlimited camera angles to choose from for this stream, or for any stream or recording or what have you. So that should be pretty neat once it's all set up and going. How do I like the Aki keyboard? It's fine, I guess. It's, if you can hear that, it's really loud and it's kind of cheap, but it's a keyboard and it works. So yeah, that's about it. Out of many tech channels out there, your room would be the most vibiest. Thank you. That's certainly what I aim for. All right, let's go on and get into the news. If I can remember, why is my Stream Deck not, there we go. Now the Stream Deck's on the stand. Now we're talking. Whoop. All right, so first and foremost, of course, we have my video here. Elgato released some new products this month. Quite a few new products, including the Elgato Soundwave panels, which you can see in the background here or over in my side angle. You can see I've got them there on the walls and on the ceiling, as well as their LED strips. That is Elgato's LED strips around the sound foam panels. They're not sticking like super well to the foam, but they're sticking to the plastic frames. So that's to be, you know, that should work out just fine. But that's not the only products they announced. They announced a third product, which did not arrive just yet, but I actually have right off screen here. Whee! And that is their new green screen. They're calling it a mouse mat. This thing is huge. In fact, I can go on and open one up, I guess. Here, we can actually go ahead and do this view. Like, they call it a mouse mat, but it is a fairly large size desk mat. It's not the biggest desk mat I own by any stretch, but I mean, it is a good size. So it's a desk mat, not a mouse pad. But it is chroma green and meant to be kind of chroma green screened. However, you can kind of see here, due to the shiny nature of mouse mat material, you do get a bunch of different shades at once. It's not a flat uniform green at all times unless you are completely evenly lit. But I think with an overhead light that's, you know, distributed enough and the right camera angle, it should work out pretty great. And I'm actually doing a dedicated video on it. My video for the overhead Pokemon unboxing setup that I have is also for that project as well. So I'm gonna make two separate videos. It's basically the same concept, but one on how I built the Pokemon opening setup, and then over at my gaming computer setup on the ceiling there, I will be mounting a camera and stuff to use the green screen mouse mat and talk about that as well. Also, I just realized that I set everything up for me to test and add an audio delay, and I didn't, and so my audio is probably out of sync. I'm gonna add, bam, 100 milliseconds of audio delay. Don't know if that helped, but hopefully it does. But yeah, so Elgato has that coming out, or just came out, coming out, what have you. And they have a couple of other products coming out later this year as well. Transition stinger go brrr. Yeah. Anyway, so moving on beyond Elgato's news, we got some news from XSplit as well. Actually, no, I wanted to talk about real quick first before we get to XSplit news. There's a thread from Crash here that talks about the Elgato sound control panels and how they actually provide, based on his contractor experience having worked on these things, a full solution, because they have the foam that absorbs reflections and helps absorb sound, they have the fiber that blocks sound, and then they have an air gap that keeps the walls from acting as speakers. And so they aren't just cheap Amazon foam, but they actually, you know, functionally, as far as normal sound treatment goes, acts as the full sound treatment. So he has a full thread kind of breaking that down from someone who has actually installed those things. Moving on to XSplit news, XSplit VCam, a program I covered in my XSplit little mini course, is a program that can remove your background and things like that. And they have added custom watermark support so that you can do whatever you would like in terms of kind of displaying your name, your company logo, your company title, things like that, on your Zoom calls or your Skype calls or what have you, or you're teaching things if you need that option, which is very helpful if you're coming onto someone's broadcast to be able to put that on yourself and not put the burden on the broadcaster or what have you. So it's pretty cool that they have included that and an update. They've done quite a few updates to the various XSplit programs, and Gamecaster has since split off into its own kind of company. It's still technically, like, on the back end, it's still the XSplit people managing it for now, but I think their hope is that they can get separate investment or kind of changes on a company level into Gamecaster that they can't do with just XSplit, and so they're spinning it off with hopes of that, I guess. And so Gamecaster at the moment is still mostly the same program. You know, nothing's really changed yet, but in terms of official ownership or what have you, it has changed a little bit. All right. Oh yeah. So if you are unaware, Clubhouse is an app that has been blowing up. It is iOS only, so you do need an iPhone. But it has been blowing up in popularity, and it's basically just a big group voice call, but it allows a bunch of people, kind of like to set up an event panel. Like if you were at a convention or TwitchCon or whatever, a few people can set up and be kind of the panelists, and then everyone else can listen in, and then they can do Q&A segments or invite people up onto the stage or whatever. It's a fairly basic concept that I don't know why this specific iteration has taken off so well. However, immediately every company under the sun started trying to clone each other's features, as they always do with social media these days, and Twitter already has their own Spaces rolled out, which is basically just Clubhouse. And allows people to do effectively the same thing. You can see here your mic will be off to start if you join the space, and you can just hop in and listen in, and it shows up, which I think is pretty clever, in the fleets or stories section on Twitter. So as much as I think fleets was a wrong move, this is actually pretty neat. Twitter's also adding some other features as well. They have announced communities, which is basically like Facebook groups, but on Twitter. They announced newsletters, which is They keep promoting whenever you do a big Twitter thread as super passive aggressive of hello, wordsmiths. You want to do a newsletter instead of a big thread, but it allows you to, publish more long form stuff on Twitter. And they have also announced, is that what this one's is about? Yeah. They have also announced super follows. This isn't out yet, but it's coming out. And this is basically a mix of like Patreon or OnlyFans with Twitter. And this is really important because every platform you have an opportunity to monetize on is a way for you to diversify. So especially for streamers, this becomes very important. And this is where we're gonna kind of focus on this for a minute. I've been talking a lot on TikTok about how it's very important for streamers to, if they want to build a long sustaining business. And I spend a lot of time talking about the difference between what I call a casual streamer or a hobbyist streamer versus a career streamer. I talked about this as far as a stream critique episode 2 years ago. Still a subject that people want to debate. But as far as I'm concerned, there are those two groups of streamers. A career streamer is someone who is trying to be full-time or trying to do streaming as a business. They want it to be a job or their job or, their career path or whatever. And those people need to focus on the business building strategies, the brand building strategies, trying to get, as many viewers as possible, all of that stuff. Whereas the hobbyist or casual streamers don't really need to focus on that. They can just focus on just playing games and having fun. And so all of the naysayers who were like, well, you should just stream to have fun and play games and hope people show up. Those people can go be the hobbyist casual streamers and not worry about Twitch tips or streaming tips or whatever. But the people who want to focus on growing their business really need to spend more time kind of thinking about the business decisions that they are making. And specifically, a hot topic recently has been Twitch affiliate program and how it locks you into certain things. And what I continue to see happen is if your business model, if your financing is based entirely on Twitch subs, you are not sustainable. You are not actually self-sufficient in that regard, because all you have to do is change games and a bunch of people run away with their subs and no longer you can afford to do this or what have you. Equally, you could lose your Twitch affiliate agreement. You could want to branch out to other platforms in the first place, or you could just get banned from a specific platform in general. And having more platforms like this that you can point people towards to monetize there instead of just on your content platform is absolutely huge. And so Twitter being one of those that kind of, everybody has a Twitter. Not everybody may use it super heavily, but everybody has a Twitter and everybody has the option to really kind of use it. And it's super easy to get your existing viewers to go follow you on Twitter, even if you don't do a whole lot with it, because it's just such a casual, easy platform that having an option to then turn that into its own Patreon or OnlyFans essentially allows you to replace, in a sense, Twitch subs, even if you don't have Twitch affiliate status yet, and start monetizing and have a place to contact them outside of your streaming platform. What absolutely kills me is seeing streamers who can't actually reach their audience when they're not live. And that's why so many streamers end up feeling like they can't reach their audience when they're not live, because they are so locked into their streaming platform that they literally, if they are not streaming, they don't communicate with their audience. They may have a small Twitter following that they don't promote much, and they may even have a Discord server that they never really put effort into or promoted much, but otherwise, they have no, if your viewership only exists on one platform and you don't interact with them anywhere else, you don't really have a community built up. You need to have a community that shows up wherever you are, and that doesn't necessarily mean that the community you have isn't sufficient. It just means that you haven't pointed them to the right places. And so I think Twitter super followers is incredibly important for this specific reason, because it gives what I would consider to be one of those ubiquitous platforms that it's everywhere, everyone's on it in some capacity, a way to kind of replace an important business model. And I've always felt that Patreon or OnlyFans is a feature rather than a service. It's something that every platform should offer pretty much, that is making money from you and your content. And so I would like to see more of this kind of evolve as time goes on. TikTok links are tiktok.com/@EposVox, or just EposVox and HoloQuest everywhere. Twitter's getting one more feature, or update rather. And that is a complete overhaul of Tweetdeck is coming. They acquired Tweetdeck in 2011, and I remember this happening because it was a toss-up between Tweetdeck and Hootsuite. And Hootsuite was starting to add a lot more features for Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Like, I managed, when I was in college, all of my college social media stuff, all of my personal social media stuff, all of the social media stuff for like a bunch of different channels I was running. And Tweetdeck got acquired by Twitter and quickly became not an option for me, but I do know that a lot of people basically don't use normal Twitter anymore when Tweetdeck is available in its place. And so while we don't have any details about it at the moment, Twitter has said that they're really trying to breathe new life into it and give it a complete overhaul, and I am very excited to see what comes of that. Thank you to Novadol for the $4.99 super chat. Much appreciated. You are welcome as well. All right, next up in the news. PlayStation Store is discontinuing their movie and TV purchase rentals. It appears that the on-demand service is no longer sustainable or effective for them, despite the fact that they are a publisher of a lot of different media. And they're going to be shutting this down. And this is after they have already shut down, essentially, their own... they had their own streaming service as well for PlayStation stuff and Sony stuff. They shut that down a few years ago, I believe. And this is what makes me really uncomfortable and nervous about digital media, digital streaming services versus physical media. And I know, as a nerd, as a physical collector, most people just kind of roll their eyes at the prospect of someone talking about keeping things on disc and whatever. But really, when it comes to ownership of media, when there's a movie, a game, a TV show that you really just want to watch over and over and over, be it The Office, be it your favorite game or something, there's a real frustration when you go to log into a service and it no longer has it, or they remove it, or you build up an entire library of purchases on a service that then shuts down. This is not the first one to have shut down, even in the past 6 months. I believe one of the Voodoo, or the ones that come bundled with the movies when you buy Blu-rays, one of those shut down not too long ago. And it's one of those things where, yeah, digital streaming provides a ton of advantages. I can't possibly disagree with that. It provides a ton of advantages, a ton of benefits for potential buyers or viewers or what have you. It also contributes to further burying things that don't have mainstream appeal due to licensing issues or, transferring it up the pipeline. I mean, there's still plenty of movies that are VHS only, plenty that are DVD only, plenty that will probably never see the light of day on a streaming platform, at least not the one that you've heard of, and you don't get to watch it afterwards. And so there are also a lot of downsides. And one of those downsides is the fact that around between 2007 and 2013, we saw a massive push of basically every company that was big under the sun pushing to launch their own movie and TV streaming service. Every single one, including PlayStation with the PlayStation 3. And every single one dipped their toes in the water and really pushed to make it good, and then slowly started dwindling whether it was reliable or not, because it wasn't worth sustaining it. It wasn't, affordable anymore, and eventually just had to take it down. And we're going to see a lot more of that as the companies that didn't have the most successful services, or the companies that can't afford to keep it going anymore, start shutting it down. And any investment you made, typically, there are exceptions, there are platforms that allow you to transfer them between them, but that gets messy and whatever. Typically, whatever investment you made on that specific platform to own a movie or a TV show or whatever is just gonna be gone, versus a disc that you can rip at any point and make backups of and play at any point. And so it's disappointing to see, but inevitable with a lot of these kind of not startup as in a startup company, but, you know, not the big pillar streaming services that keep launching. And I'm worried about the same thing happening with all the TV network streaming services. Like everyone, you know, Peacock just launched. Everyone's pushing to run their own streaming service. We're losing the advantage of cord cutting. The whole cord cutting thing was, oh, I can stream everything online now. I don't need to pay $80 for TV service plus $10 for this package plus $10 for this package. And now you do. Now you have, you know, if you don't have to. And I guess that's one of the advantages is you have the options. But like if you want access to everything you had access to before, and that's getting worse and worse as everything that was on Netflix or Hulu is getting splintered off to their own services, now you do have to pay for this one and 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 this one. And it's just really frustrating. Last up before we hit a break real quick here, Mrilis Action, which is a recording program you may have never heard of, or at least not heard of for a very long time. It used to be really popular as a Fraps alternative, and then once OBS came out, it kind of lost a little bit of relevance, but it is still the only option for PC game streaming to stream in HDR to YouTube, which is pretty neat. I covered that in my video back in January or December, I believe. They've released a new update which adds a couple interesting things, including JPEG XL HDR capture, which is a standard for HDR capture that kind of improves things a little bit. You know, they're kind of trying to adhere to existing standards. They can now do time shift, which is basically like flashback recording in normal screen capture mode. They have improved support for NVIDIA DSR and AMD VSR. That's for when you're running games higher than your monitor's native resolution. And what's really interesting here, well, also improved CSGO support because CSGO keeps blocking capture programs. What's really interesting here is a new NVIDIA SLI recording engine, as well as Vulkan SLI recording, up to 40% improvement in DirectX 12 games. So SLI is pretty much dead, but there are still, you know, people who use it, and SLI is even worse on the streaming and recording side due to the way video encoding engines work. Splitting it up on graphics cards is just a disaster, but they have apparently added improvements for it. And that's what I find really cool and interesting about programs like Mrilis Action, because they become very niche. They focus on very niche and kind of specific features that not mainstream users want. Like OBS, basically, OBS has a dilemma where they can't cater too specifically to any one audience, because it is a program that has, you know, use and interests around so many people in so many different communities. Whereas a program like Mrilis Action can focus specifically on the hardcore gamers streaming and capturing games and focus on niche features for them. And so that is pretty neat. It's really interesting to see that such a little program can do so much, and it's because of their hyper focus. But then it sacrifices some of the capabilities that a lot of us might prefer out of OBS or something else. Someone in chat saying OBS Studio did not have 8K support till OBS version 26. That's not entirely true. It was mainly the encoder itself that wasn't set up for it. And even still, you can only pretty much capture 8K 30, not 8K 60 at the moment. All right, we're gonna hit a break real quick, do a quick unboxing, and wrap up the rest of today's topics, and then I'm gonna point you over to my Twitch for a Pokemon booster box opening that I am so stoked for. All right, see you in a moment.
PlayStation.
This video is brought to you by Nerd or Die and their new Vibrance stream overlay package. Whether you stream on Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook gaming, this clean, concise, but very colorful stream package might be for you. If you like hard, clean edges, sharp corners, and really being able to customize your color scheme to pretty much anything you can imagine with a really sick stinger transition, this is the stream pack for you. As always, you have customizable widgets for recent sub, follow, tooltip alerts, you got webcam frames, you got chat boxes, you've got borders, you've got alerts, you've got everything you can imagine. And if you get the full complete package with the source files, then you have the entire After Effects file to tweak to your heart's content. Head on over to eposvox.gg/nerdordie and use coupon code EposVox to save 15% at checkout.
Sega is rolling out a new video game console this week.
It's one world. Why view it through two windows? Panasonic introduces the 36-inch SVGA TV.
All right, helps if I unmute my mic. So we only have one package to unbox today, and I generally know what it is. Unfortunately, the freaking mailman keeps not knocking when they deliver packages that need signatures, and so I will literally hear them scan the thing to, you know, drop off a package, and then by the time I make it to the door, they are gone and have left a note on my door saying, hey, this needed a signature, you weren't here, and I have to go wait online for an hour the next day to go pick it up. And that's what happened today as well. It's happened like 3 times this week, despite the fact that I'm right there and I know they didn't knock. It's really frustrating. I also have one more thing coming today, but UPS has not delivered it yet. So, yay! So we got a chat message here. Are you, not are you, you are into the Pokemon TCG for the money or for the retro awesomeness as a Pokemon fan? So if you've paid attention to my HoloQuest channel at all, or to my Twitter posts, I have been very much ranting and raving about the money focus. I'm not even showing you all the unboxing, so I'll just talk about this for a moment. I've very much been ranting and raving about the money focus of the Pokemon scene, and obviously I came back at a bad time because everything is focused on that, but it's absolutely disgusting to me. Even just a couple years ago, when I was doing Pokemon openings, it was about the collecting, it was about the awesomeness, it was about the enjoyment, and now it's, here's a $200,000 box of cards. Here's a $300 pack. This card is worth $5,000 PSA 10 graded. Why does that matter? Are you here because you like Pokemon or because you're trying to buy and resale? And Pokemon's currently experiencing what is effectively just a massive stock shortage as a result of the high demand. And it just completely comes from the people who are only here to buy and resale, and not the people who are here to actually enjoy the experience. And it is so upsetting as someone who loves Pokemon cards. In fact, real quick here, we'll do most of this on the Twitch stream, so come to that as soon as the show's over. But I think this is the right binder. It may not be the right binder. Darn it. One of these binders, hold on. Nope, not this one either. Whatever. I have cards from when I was a kid that were probably worth thousands of dollars. I'm not gonna get them graded. I'm not gonna sell them for $3,000. I collected them because I want them. If I pull a first edition Charizard, or from these boxes of the mystery power cubes, if I pull a shining Charizard, which is the whole reason I bought these, I'm gonna keep them for my freaking collection, because that's what I want them for. Sure, at some point, if I get a bunch of duplicates of something that's actually worth money, I will probably sell or trade them away, because that will allow me to complete my collection a little bit better. But the entire focus, where every video, even from otherwise wonderful creators, is constantly listing resale prices, it has created this culture that is extremely upsetting, focused on the worth of the Pokemon cards and not people who are just here for it. And in fact, I started following someone on my Pokemon TikTok and had to quickly unfollow them because all of their posts were, oh look, they're like some rich bros in Australia who suddenly discovered Pokemon for the first time, I guess. They're like, oh yeah, here's a $500,000 box, here's how it was shipped, here's a $500 pack. And then they start taking pictures with their Charizards in front of their Ferraris and crap, and it's just become the status symbol. And I think I'm offended because this was something that, when I was a kid, it was something kind of exclusive to us nerds. It was not well accepted. It was not the norm. And now it's being taken over by rich people just looking to make a profit and make it cool for a moment. And then by time it's done, by time all of this stabilizes, by time, you know, everything goes back to normal, stock catches up, and rich people get bored of their first edition base set boxes or whatever, there's not going to be any left. That is the problem, is there's not going to be any. What If I want to open an original base set box or a Team Rocket box, that's my like holy grail as a Team Rocket box. It doesn't even have to be first edition. I'm totally fine with unlimited. But a Team Rocket box or a Gym Challenge box or even base set, if I get the opportunity to have one of those, I'm either keeping it sealed because I'm scared to touch it, or I'm opening it because I want the experience to open those original packs again. That is all I want. I want the experience, the nostalgia of opening the packs that I could have opened as a kid. And all of these people rushing in to make a quick profit from it and throw, you know, millions of dollars at these packages are buying them all up, and then by the time they get bored, they're all going to be gone. There's not going to be any left on the market. Even if they're not costing as much, they're just not going to exist. And we're just going to have to hope that we get lucky enough that we find someone who had an entire like card shop in their attic they forgot about, which is my dream, but unrealistic. So, mini rant over here. The unboxing was these power cubes that may have a Shining Charizard in it. It is like a 1 in a million chance. It is unlikely, but I got 2 of them because they were not super expensive and I'm excited to check them out. Maybe with enough push, I can be talked into opening them on Twitch as well after the booster box. But let's get back to I read MTG on chat and was about to say Magic the Gathering. Let's not get back to Magic the Gathering. Let's get back to our news topics. Actually, as I say that, anyone who's watching who has an old Pokemon collection that they no longer want or want to part ways with that isn't looking to sell it for like boo-koodles of money because your old played with cards are not honestly worth anything, you know how to reach me. Email is in the description below. Hit me up. I will happily buy collections and take care of them and be someone who doesn't just flip them for more money and rip you off. I put them in binders and sleeves and organize them and try to complete my own collections and appreciate them very much. I don't expect anyone to go for it because everyone's just trying to make a quick buck off of Pokemon these days, but I am always happy to take in Pokemon or even super old school Yu-Gi-Oh cards as well. Alright, now back to the news. Whew. Anyway, in other news, Razer has announced that they are selling a 12-inch USB powered LED ring light. Now, this is going to cost $80, which is significantly cheaper than Elgato's option. However, it's not the same thing. It is, again, USB powered. It is significantly less bright. It's like 1/3 of the brightness, I think. It has technically adjustable colors, but it's just 3 color settings versus having the full range like the Elgato ring light has. And it seems to be mainly meant for phone plugs. And in fact, we've seen some very, very, very similar designs on Amazon already. But everyone's freaking out about the transition sound effect. I guess it's like glitching out in OBS or something. But it seems like it'll be a decent option for people who have been interested in cheaper options because people find like the Elgato ring light to be more expensive or whatever. But that overhead cam that I use, you probably can't use the Razer ring light for it at much of a distance because it won't get bright enough. So it's something worth considering. I've been told that I am on the list. I'm also interested in Digimon cards, by the way. I have been told I'm on the list to review the Razer ring light. We will see, you know, what comes of it once I get my hands on it. Next up from Anantech, we get a preview coming soon announcement of, that was weird wording. We get a preview now from Anantech. We get an announcement coming soon of AMD's 3rd gen EPYC CPUs utilizing Gen 3. Now Zen 3. We have seen some leaks suggesting that there will be a 96 core EPYC coming as well, which would be pretty insane. The official announcement has not happened yet, but I am very excited to see where this goes. We also get an update from YouTube that has kind of ticked a lot of people off, and that has to do with updated tax information for those of you who live outside the US. Now, I have not looked up too closely into this because I'm in the US and it doesn't affect me, but I have seen complaints from people who are outside the US saying that it's significantly more complicated than it needs to be and more complicated than most tax forms. It potentially requires them to pay US taxes on top of the cut YouTube takes. I don't know how accurate that is. The base tweet that was built off of isn't, you know, was deleted, but it's not making a lot of people outside of the US happy, as you can also see by the massive dislike bomb that the video is facing. So here is the information available to you and what YouTube expects or requires. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. I have even seen creators talk about setting up shell companies in the states that will file the taxes because it's easier to just do that from within the states and then pay themselves outside of the country. I don't know. It's a mess. Moving on. We're going to talk about some Twitch news, and this is something that someone was already asking about in the chat. Some people like the bright halo eyes. I hate the ring light eye look personally. What I love about this ring light setup is it's on right now and you don't even notice, because with the angle that it's at and the fact that it's flat pointing down, like you don't even know that it's pointing here. Like if I turn it off, if Elgato Control Center will respond. Oh, wrong light. You notice that one. Like there's a slight hint of it acting as a kicker light on my face, or my hair rather, but it doesn't affect my face lighting, which is perfect. So it's off for now. So in a recent thing, someone has found in the Twitch API a brand safety score, grading streamers on their brand, advertiser friendliness. This was obviously a big deal a couple years ago on YouTube when it comes to the advertiser friendly guidelines, and everyone lost their collective crap about it, and everyone started treating, once again, which happens every couple years, Twitch as a safe haven for bad actors or something, and seemed completely unconvinced, because I say this every time YouTube drama shows up, that the same issues that YouTube faces, Twitch will also face, which is the case every time. And here they have started experimenting with a brand safetiness thing to hopefully help improve their advertising and their brand deal situation on Twitch, because it has been a disaster for a long time. And it judges people's brand, friendliness or safetiness based on a few factors, which were something along the lines of whether you're partnered with Twitch, with what the ESRB rating of your game is, if you've had infractions before, a few different things. But what I think really concerned people is that there was a hint of some sort of hint of some sort of manual kind of input from Twitch, or Twitch staff rather, on the brand awareness of the channel, and that really started bothering some people. So then Twitch replied to the actual thread pointing this out, and of course it's not showing up now. Every time I link a tweet and then click on it, it changes what replies it shows. I don't even see it now. Maybe did I link it? Yes. Hey there, we're exploring new ways to make sure ads are appropriately matched. Nothing has actually launched yet. They were looking at a few things, just testing it out, but then they brought up like privacy concerns, which I don't think anyone was really talking about. But then there was an update that they actually just removed the thing outright from the API, because apparently, as someone in chat is pointing out, it was available for a while, but it was exclusive and internal to the Salesforce team, and this was the first time it was found publicly. But then they have since removed it. This is actually disappointing that they are removing it, because it is something that would significantly potentially have a significant impact on Twitch's ability to bring in brand deals, to work with sponsors, to potentially increase CPMs for creators, and now they're taking it back because of a misunderstood backlash, which is one of those situations where I'm glad YouTube doesn't always fold under misunderstood backlashes, because I don't know, it's one of those things where I understand that a lot of people just don't like the idea of brand friendliness at all, and they're just like, I'm gonna post whatever I want and you can't stop me, and that's fine. But if you want to run a business and make money and work with advertisers, you're gonna have to play ball a little bit. That's just how the game works, and I have found it to have had a significantly positive impact on YouTube, and it's kind of upsetting that it may just be removed from Twitch. But we'll see how they kind of implement it and how it shows up in future kind of things. But I don't know. It's it may still be used, just not publicly available, which is fine, because the one that was found almost in the exact same way on YouTube, which was accidentally found through some sort of source code leak or something, was also not meant to be seen publicly. And so I don't know. I hope they keep using it, and I hope they use it to improve the ad situation on Twitch. Oh yeah, so there is a data hoarder website here linked that has the data hoarding community has basically scraped as many videos as they could before community contributions, which was viewer submitted subtitles or captions for videos, which was an extremely important feature, especially for accessibility, but they refused to kind of update the moderation tools for it and fix the issues with it. And so, you know, there were a lot of problems with it, and in the classic Google/YouTube way, instead of fixing it and making it the tool that everyone needed, they just removed it or announced that it was being removed. And so the data hoarding community went and scraped a bunch of videos. It was like 400,000, no, it was like 4 million videos, or 50 million videos, sorry. They scraped 50 million videos and put together this 9.46 gigabyte archive of community contributions. So you can try to go through and find your own if you'd like, or just find them for other videos and work with creators to get them kind of implemented. Because essentially what you can do is take the community contributions that are here and then paste them back in as your own, you know, as your own contributions to your own subtitles on your own videos. And so I like that the data hoarding community stepped up here to actually archive as many of these as possible. Next up, we have a new blog post from Netflix, and the images are not loading at all, ironically. That's a little weird, but blog post from the Netflix blog that I have worked with, well, not worked with them, but, you know, used their blog to talk about AV1, the new video codec coming that uses significantly less bandwidth for high resolution content while making it way higher quality. And they have been working with the same kind of format, but it's called AVIF for images. It needs to be an alternative to JPEG that is widely supported, better, you know, quality for the bitrate, and has a wider feature set. And they believe the AV1 image file format, or AVIF, is the way to go, as have a lot of other sites and browsers have already added support for it. And so they have a blog post detailing how they've been rolling it out to save bandwidth while just delivering higher quality, you know, thumbnails and banners and stuff for their shows on their platform. And it's just always interesting to read how that works and, you know, what is required, because there is regularly a lot of discussion about this, and I like to see these new formats get a lot of support. Going back to data hoarding for a second, there is the Internet Archive Scholar. It is a collection of over 25 million scholarly publications of academic articles, journals, things like that, that were basically disappeared from the internet, that the Internet Archive has available, and it's searchable, it's displayable in, you know, fancy 90s format. They got fun GIFs and logos and stuff to go with it, but lots of scholarly articles and academic resources that were either not accessible or getting taken down, archived and put up on the Internet Archive. This is the Internet Archive at its best, doing its best work here, providing backups and archives of things that kind of matter to the world that need to be published, and I like to see this. Someone asks, is Netflix going to use some sort of AV1? Yes, they are a huge advocate of AV1 and have been pushing it and helping fund the development of it for a while, because it would benefit Netflix immensely. Last topic for the day. 20 Bethesda games are coming on Xbox Game Pass as of today, thanks to the new acquisition of Microsoft acquiring Bethesda. So these are the list of games that should be coming to the service: Dishonored, Dishonored 2, Doom, Doom 2, Doom 64, Doom 3, Doom Eternal. Actually, that might be Doom 2016, not Doom 3. Fallout, New Vegas, Fallout 76, Prey, blah, 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 blah. Lots of games coming, which is very, very exciting. I'm always kind of concerned to see these big acquisitions and what happens to them, but I am very excited to see how they kind of further implement it within the Xbox ecosystem. All right, that's all we got for news topics for today. I will open the floor a little bit here just for a few minutes to round us off to the 50 mark, I guess, before we feed over to Twitch. If y'all have any follow-up questions about today's news topic, since it was a little bit shorter video. Otherwise, head on over to twitch.tv/EposVox for my Vivid Voltage Pokemon Booster Box opening. These are actually pretty hard to get. They already cost over $100 more than I paid for this one a couple months ago. I wish I would have bought more. I didn't realize they were going to spike. But we're going to open it up, see if we can pull a Rainbow Hollow Charizard or a Rainbow Chonkachu. Everyone play Doom 64. It's amazing. I agree. Doom 64 is pretty solid. But yeah, that's the topics we have. We have some exciting stuff. Honestly, there was a lot of outrage about the Twitch API stuff, and honestly, other than making it available, like you don't want a situation where you can like look up someone you're trolling and be like, hey, your brand score is only blah blah blah, so you're probably making nothing. You don't want that situation available. But otherwise, I think for the platform, helping clean it up will help things immensely, especially since Twitch has been struggling with advertising in the first place. Eddie04TV says, where can I get the booster packs? If you're talking about Vivid Voltage, they are very expensive and hard to get at this point. I'd recommend checking out sites like Troll and Toad. They're actually a fairly local game shop that they ship everywhere, but they're from my native state of Kentucky, so they ship to me super fast. Yeah. Congrats on moving, by the way. Oh yeah, I guess we can do a kind of brief... Here, if I go into studio mode here, I can kind of set up a super quick... Oh, I do have the scene. Okay, we can set this up. It's not working. Never mind. For whatever reason, the Blackmagic plugin has been hating me lately, so I can't show that camera angle, but we can check out the studio real quick here. Never tried Morrowind, might give it a shot. Yes, please do. Side cam. So, here is... We basically have two different cameras going to recreate the two different kinds of views that I primarily want here. Here is the classic retro room set that I did a lot of my videos last year in, that I was super proud of. I basically recreated it just better in this setup, and I think the cozy kind of vibe effect, I need to clean this off and get some sticker bomb going on here. You know, I was able to recreate that, but then just by putting this side camera, I am able to get the entirety here of my desk setup. So over here, I'm gonna get a little kind of audio weirdness. You see that desk right there? That is going to be dedicated to my CRT gaming setups. And so that will be my Windows 98 rig and the Windows XP rig I built back in 2017 on the channel. I have two big old high refresh rate CRT monitors that are gonna be set up there. So I basically have a gradient from my retro gaming stuff over to retro PC gaming, over to modern gaming, and then we have my main editing desk. We have my Mac Mini M1 I picked up on an ultra-wide monitor, and then my gaming PC setup stuff and my budget streaming rigs. So I have a lot going on, and then over that way off screen is my workbench setup. So I have a full studio tour coming soon, but super stoked, blurry. Yeah, here, actually, I can do that. Let's just... There we go. You get a glance at it. Anyway. Hopefully that is back in focus here. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching and hanging out in today's streamer news. Someone said to add some details, the Twitch brand friendliness wasn't publicly available. To fetch the actual score of a channel, you needed a hash key. Yeah. I knew that wasn't available. I'm just saying that, you know, it being a thing should be publicly available. I know that you couldn't just get the scores from anybody, but that's fine. That ain't even counting the retro consoles. Yeah, all those are right below me. Someone asked, why do you think NVIDIA and AMD never bothered with HEVC 422 decode, but Intel did? I think that's the same for H.264 as well. It's actually been a big problem as everyone's been switching to 422 shooting cameras and suddenly aren't getting GPU decode. I think it just came down to available resources. I have been pushing that it's a feature that needs to be added ASAP because for videographers and stuff, it's extremely important. I hope it gets added. Hexagons are the bestagons. Yeah. All right, everybody, head on over to twitch.tv/EposVox so we can open up Vivid Voltage. I'm going to be getting everything set up and making sure everything's working, and we'll be firing that up very quickly. Twitch.tv/EposVox, 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 and go follow HoloQuest over on YouTube and TikTok. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Bloop.